What's going on there, folks? Good Saturday evening. It is the Earthmaster back here on this June 24th, 2023 date. It's about 9 p.m. here along the west coast in the state of California. Latest activity looks like a 1.2 into Southern Cal, and also some movement over here around the Turkey area with a 2.2 as well. Looking at the earthquake 3D globe here, let's go ahead and zoom into the west coast out here on the USGS map. See what we got going on for now out here along the San Andreas Fault. Not a whole lot. Most of the movement here is just prior to the plate boundary along the San Jacinto Fault Zone. A little bit more active today than what we've seen over the past couple days. There's a 1.3 just outside of the Riverside area, 28 kilometers deep now. Not for certain, though, if that's going to be a correct depth for that earthquake. It's pretty deep. It is underneath automatic status, so that may be getting adjusted. I did have some earthquake earlier this morning near the Barstow, California area. That was a 3.4, but since then, let's see if we got anything on the map here for above 2.5. Well, looks like another 2.8 there in the Ridgecrest area. That's about it. Slight uptick here in earthquake activity. Also here along the creeping segment, got some movement going on as well. But generally speaking, out here along the Pacific Northwest and the West Coast, things are, well, they're a little on the quiet side as they have been. Look at Yellowstone National Park here. Let's see. Doesn't look like too much earthquake activity. There's some signatures here of, I believe, what was thunderstorms earlier this evening and late afternoon to early evening time period. But no major swarms going on, no unusual activity there at Yellowstone National Park. And quite frankly, the rest of the country here looks fairly quiet, not a whole lot going on. Same for the Caribbean and the South America region. Let's check out the Earthquake 3D globe here, though. See what we got. Some 3s and 4s kicking up here in the Middle America Trench and areas south. That's been going on here since about yesterday. Nothing big. We are seeing some deeper movement quakes outside of the Chile area as well. Getting a pancake stack of 3s and 4s in this one location here. USGS reporting a few of those earthquakes with the latest one of 4.3. 59 kilometers here into the Peru-Chile trench here, the subduction zone area. Over here around the Tonga region, Tonga Trench, this area is still seeing some movement right here in this bend. That's been the area of some interesting swarming here recently. This area did see a 7-pointer, 7.2, almost 10 days ago. Now that triggered this swarm of activity upstream. This is a pretty deep earthquake, 175 kilometers deep into the Tonga Trench area, and definitely triggered a quite a significant swarm. So still kind of watching that. That's where the activity is kicking up today in that location. Nothing going on here across New Zealand. Let's check out the GeoNet servers here. Well, the globe's shown a 3.6. We'll go over here to earthquake activity here across the GeoNet map. Just to give a quick glance here, 12 hours ago, 2.1. Okay. All magnitudes event. 3.6, it looks like, about 45 minutes ago. That 229 kilometers deep here. That's a extremely deep earthquake. That must be the one that is showing up there on the globe. That would be associated there probably with the Hikurangi subduction zone as it sits just off the east coast here of the North Island area. Let's check out the earthquake drums and see if it even picked it up. About 45 minutes ago, I see a slight, potentially a slight glimpse of it there. 45 minutes ago, well, nothing big. That's going to be it right here, I guess, on the closest North Island stations. The rest of the area, not seeing any major swarming, no unusual activity. There was some movement there about 13 hours or so ago down in the South Island area. But for the most part, things are just, looks like another day out there in New Zealand. Across the Papua New Guinea area and Indonesia Islands, most of the movement here looks like some 3s and some 4s. We are getting a little cluster of activity up here. Notice into the Izu Trench. Let's see what we got going on here. At least 3 earthquakes here being reported by the USGS. This area did see, remember I mentioned here, Has it been, let's see here, maybe it was below a 4.5. Stand by here for a second. I know we've seen some deeper movement quakes here. Maybe it was this one, 4.0, a few days ago. I could have swore there was another one up here. It doesn't look like it's there. Maybe I was imagining it. Either way, deeper activity here recently. It looks like it may be triggering a little bit of shallow earthquake activity today. A couple fives kicking off here. The latest of 5.3 around the Izu Islands, the Japan region here. But this is surface activity. It looks like about 10 kilometers deep. So heightened movement, it looks like, here across this area. And the EMSC showing a handful of quakes in there as well. That's kind of why it looks a little clustered. But the USGS is reporting it. Up into the Alaska region, I see a handful of newer quakes up there. So let's see what we got going on. Anything above 2.5? Scattered activity, I guess. 2.8 near the Copper Landing, Alaska area. That's just outside of the Anchorage area to the south. Around Anchorage, looks like a 3.6 earlier this afternoon, 36 kilometers deep. Aside from that, mostly small microquakes out there today into the Alaska region. Indian Ocean did see a 4.8 early this morning, and it looks like up into the Kazakhstan area, 4.5 eastern area of the country up there from earlier this afternoon. Mediterranean has been a little quiet here today. It's not quite as a cluster of earthquakes here across the Turkey region. There's a 2.2 coming in right now, but for the most part, looks a little on the quiet side. There's that 4.4, I believe, was from last night. Actually, it was from this morning, it looks like. Pretty early, 4.4 off the coast of Spain. This activity following the movement out here in the Middle America Trench from just yesterday. We had a little swarm of activity. That movement obviously applying some pressure here to the east. All right, Big Island of Hawaii. I don't think we got any major changes going on here. Looks like a couple smaller microquakes, but as always, I like to double check. We're going to go to the HVO, check out their daily update here on Kilauea Volcano, which is currently still paused following a rapid decline in vent and lava lake activity Monday afternoon, this last Monday. So we're coming up on close to a week of it being paused. Doesn't look like any major elevated, unusual activity taking place. We'll continue to watch that, though, for any signs of future eruptions here. We did have a little surprise space weather event here, kicking up into the G1 class. It's going to be a KP index of 5. That sparked up some aurores. I don't think they were visible up here, but potentially down in Antarctica area, but up north here in Alaska, Canada region, Greenland, and Iceland, probably, I'm guessing it was probably daylight out, but that has since calmed down. That was due to the BZ component of the interplanetary magnetic field the IMF carried past Earth via the solar wind is currently pointing south. That allowed some just your typical solar wind stream to flow in. I don't think we've seen any major activity. Just that glance that sometimes happens when the interplanetary magnetic field points south with the BZ component there that will spark up some auroras. Let's see. As far as flaring activity goes, fairly quiet. Kind of been chatting about this a lot. Haven't really seen any major development out here. In fact, all of these are just fading like the wind. Well, fading like the sunspots, I guess. Goodness, I don't really see anything noteworthy to chat about here on the sunspots. Maybe this area right here, but for the most part, these things are disappearing right before our eyes. Not a whole lot of potential with any of these sunspots that are currently facing the Earth. And there's really nothing coming around the bend either. As far as the eastern limb of the sun, a look at the UV filter ray here. Doesn't show too much. Fairly stable conditions, except for this one that I showed you just a second ago. That's about the only noteworthy one that may be producing some flaring. Right now, it looks like 99% chance for a C flare, M flare at 40, X flare around 10%, but this is slightly over elevated, I guess is the word I'm looking for. So, excuse me again. Goodness. Well, let's see. I think that's about it. No major space weather events headed our way yet. Weather outlook here. Looks like for tomorrow, Sunday, lots of severe weather out here across portions of the Midwest. From about the Great Lakes all the way south into the south. A large area of severe potential. Main threat, I believe, is going to be some large hail and some wind. There is a slight 5% chance for tornado probability out there around the Louisville, Kentucky area, Clarksville, Tennessee. It looks like Bowling Green, Kentucky, with the 2% extending a little bit further south and north from that area. But for the most part, severe weather. That's something that does kick up here. All right, doesn't look like there's a lot of these that are loaded yet. That's just because they just had the updated one come in. We can check out the previous run. I want to see what, and this is only about going to be 6 hours old there. But I want to check out and see if this hurricane is still coming into the Gulf around the 4th or 5th time frame. It looks as though there's still some type of tropical development down here around the 4th and 5th of July in the Gulf of Mexico, but it doesn't look all that organized. But still, it's been fairly consistent with some model runs, far as something brewing out there in the Gulf around that first week of July. But for the most part, it just looks like typical rainstorms and thunderstorms out there. Quick glance at the total accumulated precipitation map. I always like to look at this and just go into the future. This paints a very wet scenario, probably from that tropical system there that I was just chatting about here for portions of the south. Quite a bit of rainfall and much needed rainfall here across portions of the eastern portion of the states here. And looks like Texas, Oklahoma area, and New Mexico continuing to get some rainfall from thunderstorms and whatnot. This is our dry period out here along the west coast, so this is very typical to see, mountain storms out here with rain accumulation. But here in the valley, we are going to start to cook. Literally, we'll probably be up in the 108 range, I believe. Let's go over here to the windy map. I want to look at the temperature readings out here. And really supposed to start up, I think, on Thursday or so. Look at Texas over there, definitely going to cook. But here into the valley, we got that dry heat, right? They call it the dry heat. So it's 110, but you have the dry heat. Well, it's still hot. Definitely still hot. This is on Thursday, 106 around Chico. On Friday, that's a crazy number here for the Chico area. We're looking at 111 degrees come Friday. So I said 108. That's a little bit hotter than what I had seen earlier. So it looks like the trends of heat are getting stronger for us here in Northern California come Friday on the 30th. And that's supposed to, looks like that's going to last for a few days. Oh goodness, look at Saturday, 111 too. Good. Oh man, that's not good. There is what looks like maybe a south type of breeze, which isn't really going to cool us off. If anything, it may bring some moisture, somewhat cooler air from the bay, which is 59 degrees, right? Obviously sitting there on the Pacific, the cold Pacific water. That will try to come in through the delta, but it probably won't do any cooling around the Chico area. If anything, it's going to bring probably some humidity in and make it feel worse than it is. Yes, we do get humidity localized here in this area. 113 degrees, 113 on Sunday. That is a scorcher. And that covers a broad area here into the Sacramento Valley. That looks really, really bad. I'm not happy about that one bit. We've been doing really good with the weather here, and yikes, 116. These could be some new records out here around Willows, Orland, Corning. Oh, I think that's going to be I don't know what it's going to be. I might just have to venture over here to the coast, spend a week over here around the Fort Bragg area, Eureka, maybe Crescent City, and get away from this stuff. I am not a big fan of that heat whatsoever. No, thank you. You guys can have that. So anyway, yeah, we'll check back on that. I really don't want to, but I guess we're going to have to, because that looks, we're talking 116. That's hotter than Las Vegas. What's Death Valley like here? Ridgecrest, Barstow. Death Valley normally cooks around that area as well, 118. But you notice the Sacramento Gutter, I tend to call it the Sacramento Gutter, but it's the Sacramento Valley. San Joaquin Valley, Delta, Sacramento Valley up here in the north. It's still just, it's hot. Look at the Pacific Northwest as well, 104 in Portland. All right, so we have a very hot end of June, and it looks like maybe potentially the first week of July. I'm hoping this will change, but it looks like the forecast for now. I'd like to be up here in some of this blue. I'm not even joking. 22 degrees, I'll take that over 116. I'm not even joking. I'll put on some pajamas and a sweater, get a good fire going. All right, we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow. Have a good, safe Saturday night. Take care, everyone.